We're in Cambodia.
We're spending 3 weeks in Cambodia, visiting temples, eating as much Khmer food as we can, soaking in the sun, seeing sunsets, and having an amazing time. And we're starting in Siem Reap. We're Deb and Matt. Today we're going to show you everything else there is to do here in Siem Reap that's not Angkor Wat. Let's get going.
First up, our favourite breakfast place. So good we ate there twice. New York Bagels. This casual cafe has excellent coffee with bagels and sandwiches available. On a side note, the staff here were super friendly and really appreciative of our business. The 2 coffees and bagel sandwiches cost 50,000 Real or about $12.50 US. And our second visit with bagels and coffees came to 30,000 or $7.50.
If you're looking for something a bit fancier, head to Candle Street to find the Little Red Fox Cafe. While it looks small from the outside, like a lot of places in Southeast Asia, make sure you head upstairs for more seating and a great balcony overlooking this boutique shopping street. Arguably one of the best coffees in Siem Reap, this cafe draws on Australian coffee culture with great views. Two coffees, a smashed avo and scrambled eggs came to 60,000 Riel or $15. The food was delicious and everything, including the bread, was made on site.
Siem Reap is a very walkable city for Southeast Asian standards. You could actually use a footpath because they weren't covered in scooters. If you want something special, go out earlier in the morning, take some time to wander the town as everything begins to wake up.
Our next place is probably one of the most unique things we did in Cambodia, as well as supportive of a good cause. You'll need to grab a tuk-tuk to get out here. Ours cost about 10,000 Riel or $2.50 each way.
The Apopo Visitors Centre raises money and is an education centre for their hero rats. Life-saving rats who can detect landmines, tuberculosis, and assist in finding people after earthquakes.
Notice the setup that we have. Clearance, it's ongoing for over 32 years already. 1992, that's when it kind of started, and up until now. And as far as I know, there are eight group or organizations are working to detect explosive here in the country. So
it's estimated there's still 4 to 6 million unexploded landmines in Cambodia. These African pouched rats are able to sniff out explosives, which assists in safer demining efforts in the Cambodian countryside.
But we want him to go back and confirm for us one more time. Yeah, you see that scratch? He found it already.
While at the centre, you'll see a demonstration from a retired rat showing how they find explosives, before being given the opportunity to hold one for a photo op. This was an eye-opening experience that focused on the good that's happening in Cambodia. The tickets are $10 each, and you'll also find a gift store and cafe on site, with all proceeds going back to the centre and demining efforts in Cambodia.
Our next recommendation is closely aligned, and that's Sister Srey Cafe. Siem Reap's cafe with a cause, where all profits go to the Apopo Centre, directly supporting landmine clearance in Cambodia. 2 breakfasts and juices came to 70,000 Real or about $17.50 USD. The food was delicious, the staff were friendly, and it was located right in the centre of town. It had a chilled out vibe and was busy the whole time we were there. Our next recommendation is the Bayon Pastry School in Siem Reap. This cafe and bakery makes delicious food and coffee, which helps fund training for women from disadvantaged backgrounds in pastry and baking skills. The price is very reasonable and it's a perfect place to grab a breakfast snack for the next day if you're hitting up the temples early. We'll leave the information for it and every other recommendation in this video in the description down below. So here we are at our accommodation in Siem Reap. We're staying at the Urban. And can I just say, wow, this place has blown my expectations considering how much we're paying for our accommodation here. It is phenomenal. Staff Super lovely, welcome drinks, cold towels every time you walk in the front door. It's exceptional. So let me give you a little bit of a tour of our room. So coming in from the front door, you see we've got our beautiful bed with window to the outside world with that pathway in through the front. You can see Deborah sitting out there enjoying her coffee. What I'm loving about this place as well is they actually have quite a sustainable ethos. These reusable metal bottles that have come full of water already. We've got a lovely little day bed here as well.
Matt's just filming our room tour at the moment, but take a look at this place.
We loved our stay at the Urban and would 100% come back the next time we're in Siem Reap.
By this stage, it was time for lunch, and this restaurant is probably one of the best we went to for traditional Cambodian food, like lok lak and amok curries. We ate here twice, with 2 meals and drinks costing about $12 each time.
We're on our way to one of the biggest supermarkets here in Siem Reap, called the Angkor Market.
Love looking in supermarkets around the world just to see what kind of stuff is for sale.
The Angkor supermarket is a great place to stock up on anything you've forgotten, good air conditioning and snacks for upcoming bus trips. The Cambodian made section is perfect to buy some cheap souvenirs or candies, especially if you're from Australia or New Zealand and need it factory sealed for customs.
From here, head to the Made in Cambodia market for more shopping and products that are locally made. From silk and textiles, handicrafts, soaps, candles, locally made liquor, artwork and jewellery. Many shops also had fixed pricing and plenty of info about where their products came from.
By now it's time for an afternoon coffee. While there are coffee stands all over Siem Reap, the Corner Home Cafe quickly became our favourite. At just 5,000 rial or $1.25 for a condensed milk coffee, we stopped in the first time because it was just up the road from our hotel, and then went back every day for the excellent drinks and awesome service.
At this point, it was time to relax. We found the Blue Spa due to their excellent reviews online. They offered a free hotel pickup, it was super clean and had really great service. You could choose your fragrance and they even had some complimentary tea. We paid just $38 for two, that's right, two 90-minute traditional Khmer massages and it was worth every dollar.
As the sun sets, the lights come on and the markets open. You can watch artists hone their craft and haggle for gifts and souvenirs. The town becomes alive with buskers, some even raising money for landmine victims.
Head down to the river for a cheap and cheerful meal from one of the street stalls. Though we've definitely had better food elsewhere, these two meals plus a beer only cost $6.
For a more upscale meal, head to Wild, a creative cocktail bar and finger food restaurant specialising in spring rolls. Set in a beautiful garden, it costs $70,000 for 2 plates of delicious and filling spring rolls, as well as cocktails. They also sent us a complimentary dessert due to a kitchen mix-up, but the service overall was excellent.
Your final stop of the night should be Pub Street. Even if you're not there to drink, go to see the light displays, check out the atmosphere. We actually noticed throughout our Cambodia trip that many places shut down parts of the town to turn them into public spaces, which was really nice. Lastly, stop into Gelato Lab for a treat before bedtime for a big day tomorrow.
Good morning. So we are getting ready for our first day at Angkor Wat.
We were picked up on time and went straight to the Angkor Wat ticket office. This is actually about 15 minutes from the main temple. Allow 5 to 10 minutes to collect your ticket as they're printed with your photo on them. You can also buy them online via the Cambodia app. We bought a 3-day pass for $62 each and then headed in straight away.
This is the largest religious structure in the world, with the temple complex actually made up of 72 temples and about 1,000 built over the Angkor region. While Angkor Wat is the most iconic temple, the term is also used to refer to the entire complex in Siem Reap.
We booked with a local tuk-tuk driver named Voleak, based purely on the photos he'd posted to his Facebook page. It was clear he had an eye for photography, passion for the area, and great communication while arranging the trip. We asked to be taken to some of the smaller, lesser-known temples for great photo spots, plus somewhere local for lunch. Although he was a little more expensive than other drivers, we hoped that he would find the photo opportunities we'd seen in the social media. We made a quick stop at the North Gate, with Voleak showing us a path to the top of the temple with a close-up of the iconic faces.
Sound of the birds, the nature around, not people.
Next up was Priya Khan. Priya meaning holy or sacred, this is one of the more impressive temples in the park. You'll find delicate carvings at every turn, and the crumbling rocks are slowly being consumed by tree roots. Our next temple found us walking across a beautiful lake filled with water lilies and bird life. It seemed quite busy, but we soon found out most people only walk far enough to get a nice photo and not to the actual temple itself.
So we're partway through our tour of the Grand Circuit at Angkor Wat, and it's been absolutely fantastic. We've paid a little bit more for a driver, just based on some recommendations that we found, but he's taken us to some absolute gems, completely quiet, where we've been able to get really great photos. and he's also done some really great photos for us. So his name is Voleak, and I'll leave all of his information down below. It's not a sponsored post or anything, it's just a really great recommendation. We've actually booked him for 2 days, so we'll be doing the small circuit with him tomorrow. So right now we're at the temple, and it's most significant because it's believed that these waters had healing powers.
This Buddhist temple sits on an artificial island, and it was originally thought that bathing in the waters would promote spiritual and physical healing.
At several temples, as well as in Siem Reap itself, you'll find musicians who have been affected by landmines in Cambodia. They raise money playing traditional music. If you do take photos or video, all the time to enjoy the music, please leave some money to help support them. One of the highlights of the day, Ta Som, is a small but beautiful and photogenic temple. It's a short walk from the road, but you're very quickly transported to another world. Similar to Ta Prom or the Tomb Raider temple, this temple is overgrown with trees, but without the crowds.
Another favourite of ours, the East Mebon Temple, is a step pyramid featuring elephants and lion stone statues.
So we're at our final temple of our tour. So even though we're here in February, definitely do not underestimate how hot it can get, especially when you're in the sun. So Matt has very enthusiastically climbed up here, and I'm just waiting for him. And then we're about to go to Phra Duck to try some traditional food.
For our final stop of the day, Voleak took us to the village of Phra Duck. This spot is very popular with tourists and locals alike, known for their roasted pork and palm cakes. But I will say the food didn't disappoint. We paid 40,000 Rial for all this food, which was more than enough for the 3 of us. It was delicious and filling, and exactly what we wanted at the end of a long day.
So these are called palm cakes. They're a steamed cake made of, I'm pretty sure, palm sugar, palm fruit, coconut, and maybe sticky rice, as well as coconut cream. And they're steamed, wrapped in banana leaves. They were really cheap. I think they were 1,000 Rial each, so about 25 cents. And inside, they're full of this coconut cream, which is really tasty. They also give you like the coconut meat to add to it as well. It's quite a tasty treat. Like a little cupcake.
We absolutely loved today. His website is a little out of date, but we paid $30 for the day. We did this suggested itinerary and added our lunch stop. Keep in mind, we did ask him to specifically focus on some great photo spots, but Voleak went above and beyond as our own private photographer as well.
You've got a good eye, you know all the angles.
Yeah.
His timing was fantastic to get us to some great places with gorgeous lighting, with little to no people. And although he's not an official guide, he did give us a quick overview of each temple. All of his details are in the description below. But we still have another full day at the temples with Voleak tomorrow. Angkor Wat, a bucket list experience. Go for sunrise to experience the peace, the serenity, the crowds of thousands all vying for that perfect shot. But don't let me discourage you. The sunrise experience
Whoa, hang on. Let's start from the beginning.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. It's currently 4:30 a.m. We're up early at the crack of dawn, before dawn, to go out to Angkor Wat to get the postcard sunrise photo. Being picked up at 5 a.m. to go via tuk-tuk. Yeah, let's see how today goes. I'm super excited. Let me get some of this coffee into me.
We already had our tickets, but if you're going for sunrise, it's probably best to get them via the app or the day before.
Angkor Wat is the name of the main temple and the entire temple complex. We headed straight to this iconic site for sunrise, with everyone else currently in Siem Reap.
While you hope for this, the reality is noisy crowds, folks on speakerphone, and photographers and tripods jostling for space. I'm not discouraging you from going for sunrise, but be prepared it's not a reflective or spiritual or even peaceful moment.
This is where paying a little bit more for a good driver was well worth it. While the rest of the crowds poured into the main temple, we jumped back into the tuk-tuk and went to the next busiest temple and had it completely to ourselves. Ta Prohm was made famous by the 2001 film Lara Croft Tomb Raider. In fact, you'll even see it commonly called the Tomb Raider Temple on tour information. However, there's so much more to it than just the film. Built in the 12th century, this Buddhist temple is known for the huge strangler figs that have grown through and around the ancient stone structures. Voleak moved us in and around the temple, quickly taking us to the iconic photo spots before the other groups began to move in. He also pointed out points of interest like asparagus carved into the stone and the mind-boggling dinosaur carving. Keep in mind, this was built in the 12th century. How did they know? Like many temples in Angkor Wat, Ta Prohm is under restoration, and it's always fascinating to see the process unfolding before your eyes.
Back in the tuk-tuk, we made a quick stop at Ta Keo Temple. Made of sandstone, this unfinished stepped pyramid will give you views and a free cardio workout. I'll be honest, I was starting to fade by the time we got to Bayon Temple. We wandered around this temple famous for the many faces built into the side of the towers. I think this temple would be beautiful in the early morning, and honestly, it still blows my mind that the Angkor Wat complex isn't a world wonder. You can literally walk over the ancient stones. It's probably one of the most up-close and personal experiences you can have at an ancient site. The monkeys were a great distraction before
We headed back to the grounds of Angkor Wat for yet another photo shoot. Again, if this is a priority for you, then we definitely recommend booking Voleak. We'll add his details in the description below. After giggling at the monkey shenanigans, including some sushi theft, we headed into the main event, the main temple of Angkor Wat. Voleak continued to show us points of interest, then sensibly waited while we climbed up the impossibly steep steps to the top for these views.
we ended the day back at our hotel, pizza in hand. We absolutely love Siem Reap, but we still have another 3 weeks in Cambodia.
We're in Phnom Penh.
Arrived during peak hour and absolute carnage on the roads.
So the question you might be asking yourself, should you even spend time in Phnom Penh? I was a bit apprehensive about it, having been here about 15 years ago and not having the best experience. So we're going to be checking out some of the top-rated sites and restaurants, as well as the most significant places in the city, and letting you know what we think. Is this city worth it?
First up, we booked a giant Ibis bus from Siem Reap to Phnom Penh. They picked us up from our hotel. The ticket cost $28 each and included water and a snack.
1 hour to go.
The seats were comfortable enough, and it took about 6 hours, including a food stop.
We stayed at an awful hotel near Bassett Lane that was super convenient to hit up the restaurants, but incredibly noisy.
Our first night we hit up Wild. We'd already eaten at their Siem Reap location. And it was equally good before getting an early night.
We've just come back from the S21 prison as well as the killing fields. We didn't really film much today. I honestly don't think it's appropriate to take a lot of footage. I'm glad we went, and I would encourage anyone who comes to Cambodia to visit those places. I know some people are really hesitant to go because you're on holidays, you're on vacation, but I think it gives you a much better understanding of the places you're visiting and the people that you're interacting with. The memorials that they've set up are truly beautiful and incredibly sad. So I'll leave you with the footage that we did take. As I said, it was extremely minimal, and if you do come to Cambodia, please visit. Just a few logistical things about today. The S21 prison was $5 US per person, and then another $5 for the audio guide, which was really informative. There wasn't too much information there, so if you're not familiar with what's happened, I definitely recommend getting the audio guide. At the killing fields, the entrance was $6, and that just included the audio guide regardless if you wanted it or not. That audio guide was actually
really interesting. It was much more simplified than at the prison. We also just got tuk-tuks out and just ordered them on Grab. We're finding if you're happy to wait the few minutes for a Grab, it's actually much cheaper. So for example, from S21 to the Killing Fields, the drivers there were saying $10 for the tuk-tuk, whereas on Grab we could get it for $5. And then the driver just asked us if we wanted him to wait, and he just added like an extra $2.50 fee to wait, which was well worth it.
After an emotionally draining day yesterday, we decided to spend our second day seeing the top-rated sites in Phnom Penh. We dropped into our favourite coffee stand, mostly because it was down the street from our hotel, for a condensed milk iced coffee. We liked this one because they specifically checked how sweet you wanted it. If we were to come back to Phnom Penh again, we would probably try to book a tuk-tuk for the day instead of trying to persevere with walking around the city.
We headed first to the statue of His Majesty, a memorial to the former King Sihanouk, who also held the position of Prime Minister and Head of State at different times in Cambodian history. He led Cambodia to independence from the French in 1953 and attempted to maintain neutrality during the Vietnam and American War. And then to the Independence Monument, a lotus-shaped stupa memorialising Cambodia's independence. Both offer great views of each other, but there is a difficult crossing to get between them.
From there, we went to the waterfront and walked the length to the presidential palace before jumping into a tuk-tuk to the central market. In this Art Deco style market building, you'll find the usual fake bags, watches and sunglasses, fairly similar to most other major cities in Southeast Asia. What was most fascinating was the food market outside, with outdoor grills, ice deliveries, as well as fresh flowers for Valentine's Day.
We're here at Wat Nam in Phnom Penh.
Built in 1373, this Buddhist temple translates to mountain pagoda, although hill pagoda would probably be more accurate. It's going to cost you $1 to enter, and you'll need to wear long pants and have shoulders covered, and it's set in a lovely little park. We'll also add a Google Maps link for everywhere we went today, and you can find that in the description below.
If you're a wildlife enthusiast, keep your eye out for hornbills at Wat Nam. While quite sad to see this one foraging in a bin, it is a good sign that they're beginning to be seen again in the city.
We've been pretty complimentary of Phnom Penh so far, and we had high hopes for our lunch spot. But unfortunately, David's noodles didn't really live up to the hype. While it's super cool that they literally make the hand-pulled noodles in front of you to order, our food was fairly average, especially for the price, with 2 plates and 2 juices costing about $13.50.
We ended the day at Mama Wong's for Chinese-style dumplings. This was honestly so delicious, we wish we could go back a second time.
That is definitely the duck and the sweet potato. I don't know what's going on with this sauce, but it's got a delicious liminess to it. And I'm struggling finding the words, except delicious.
I'm glad we spent time in Phnom Penh. While it doesn't have the same modern vibe as Bangkok or the historical feeling like Hanoi, it's an evolving city that will continue to grow as the country rebuilds. However, I would recommend staying closer to the presidential palace and using tuk-tuks to get around.
Overall, we'd call Phnom Penh an underrated city, and a place well deserving of a few days in your itinerary.
We're on Koh Rong Sanloem and it's absolutely beautiful.
This island is one of those places where time slows down a little. One day easily turns into the next. It's picture perfect and well deserving of some lo-fi music. And you never get over these views. But don't let the sleepy vibes fool you. You'll find plenty of things to keep you occupied on this island as well. We stayed at Saracen Bay. We're going to show you everything you can do at this beach and on the island of Koh Rong Sanloem.
So here we are, we've just arrived in Koh Rong Sanloem and Deb's just gone back to the room to get her sunglasses before we go exploring because the sand is ridiculously white.
First up was a kayak in the bay. With the turquoise water, this was a nice way to kill an hour or so. Kayaks will either be included at your accommodation or cost $5 to $10 depending on how long you rent them for. If you are more enthusiastic, you can definitely explore a bit more. Just make sure to avoid the ferries coming and going at the piers. Unfortunately, we didn't realise ours was filled with water, making it ridiculously heavy and impossible to manoeuvre. So we gave up and went for a walk along the shoreline instead. You'll find plenty of tour options at Saracen Bay, from boat trips to quad bikes, with every accommodation and cafe offering options. If your accommodation doesn't have a pool, consider heading to either Eden or Sara Resort. I think it's less than $10 for a day pass, or a minimum spend of the same amount at the restaurant. The sleeping puppies out front are free of charge, of course. At night, some of the restaurants will have fire twirling shows. They usually rotate throughout the week, so if you miss one, it'll just be a short walk down the beach to somewhere else the following night. While the shows are for the diners, anyone can view it from the beach.
Okay, let's talk about some logistical things about getting here to Koh Rong. First of all, we got the bus from Phnom Penh with VET or VET bus. It was scheduled to take about 3 hours, but it actually ended up taking about 4. Now, they also own a ferry company called Voleak, and we were able to then buy ferry tickets at their office. They could have also taken us to the port if we'd wanted to wait, but we didn't, so we just got a tuk-tuk. Actually, no, we got a taxi. It only cost, I think it was like $2 or $3, just because we wanted to get to the port to just eat and not feel rushed.
The ferry across the island was fine. We were packed in tight, but it wasn't overcrowded, with a seat and a life jacket for each person and plenty of staff monitoring things. Our ferry went to the main island of Koh Rong first, swapping passengers, before going to Eden Pier on Koh Rong Sanloem. We definitely recommend packing light, as your luggage will be passed hand to hand over the water or even just thrown onto the pier.
There's a few ferry companies here. My suggestion would be to contact your accommodation and find out which is the best company, because they will go to different piers. It's about a half-hour walk between the two piers, and obviously if you've got luggage, you really don't want to be doing that. Having said that, there are tractors that go up and down the beach, like this one here. I honestly don't know how much they cost because we haven't used them, but I can't imagine it would be more than a couple of dollars, and it would be well worth it. Regarding costs on the island, we had read that everything was far more expensive, and that's not been the case for us. It definitely is a little bit more, And I'd say food-wise, if you were used to like the cheapest of the cheap in Siem Reap and Phnom Penh, you will find it expensive here. But if you have been going to some of the kind of nicer restaurants to enjoy that food, it's quite comparable. They have really great beach barbecues set up at night, and the plates are usually like $6 to $10. However, they are absolutely huge. So Matt and I have actually been sharing. Sometimes we'll get something else with it, but often, like last night, it was we had like a steak, and it was more than enough food for the both of us. And that was after being out on an activity for the entire day. There's a great dog here. Hey, buddy.
Just like these doggos, we'd go into the water each afternoon to cool off. The dogs on the island were definitely well taken care of. They were always playing, not aggressive, and we'd often see staff of the hotels putting out food and water for them.
So we haven't really found it super expensive. We did our plankton tour, which was going out at night, swimming with the plankton, the bioluminescent plankton. That was 10 USD each. We could have actually combined it with another boat trip that we did and probably got it a little bit cheaper. But honestly, I'm glad we did it separately because I think we enjoyed it more. Okay, so I actually just stopped filming there because it started raining pretty heavy and this camera is not waterproof. But what I was going to say is it's definitely worth researching where you're going to stay. We're at Eden, which is right by the Eden Pier, which was super convenient, obviously, for the ferry. However, I do think your experience would be very different depending on which side of the island that you're actually staying at. If it were me, I would be staying somewhere between Eden and Wonders Hostel. You've got the most infrastructure there. We're here at the busiest time and it's definitely not crazy busy or noisy. You've got mini marts, you've got restaurants, and you're not having to walk for an exceptionally long time to go anywhere. So that would be my pick. I'm sure some of the other resorts further up the beach are just as nice, but you're a long way from everywhere, and there's a lot of abandoned resorts in between that basically look like rubbish dumps, which is incredibly sad. But for someone on holiday, it wouldn't be the best experience, in my opinion. My thoughts on coming to Koh Rong. Am I glad we came here? Absolutely, 100%. You'll see a lot of titles, clickbait titles, if I dare say, being Koh Rong is the Maldives of Cambodia. And there is some truth to that. However, you have to come at the best time of year, and that's February. Those photos are taken in perfect weather conditions, and you need to be looking at the beach in high tide. The other part of that is you need to choose to stay at the right beach, in the right location. I'm sure this whole island could be absolutely stunning. However, okay, that's better. Like a lot of places in the world, there is a huge rubbish issue. The area that I talked about before is really beautiful and there's a lot of cleanup happening here, but there are plenty of resorts that they've just been shut down. From what I've read, the Cambodian government has forced the locals out and the land was sold to Chinese investors, and that kind of all fell apart during COVID. So it's just kind of, the buildings have been left to rot, the rubbish is piled up, And, you know, you don't want to be paying $100 a night on vacation having that next door to you. And that's what it is. And I think if you're aware of it, if you come in here with the right expectations, it's an amazing holiday. It's relaxing. There's enough things to do that you could go out and do something every day. You could also just sit by the beach and read a book, which we've also done plenty of. And I've really enjoyed my time here. I would 100% come back here if I came back to Cambodia. I'd love to explore some of the other islands a little bit more. In regards to accommodation affordability, you can get everything from, I think they're like $6 or $8 dorms to hundreds of dollars a night. I think we've spent, it was 140 Australian, I'll put what that is in American, in USD below. We've had air conditioning, we have a pool. So it's our 4th day here on Koh Rong Sanloem. The weather is not so great. So we're actually going to spend today just doing a little bit of work, a little bit of housekeeping, but we'll also show you some things that we really like about where we're staying. So first of all, when we came into the room, we had this. This is a pillow menu. Now we have come across this at other hotels, but certainly not in places as remote as this, and also for this price point. So it was really nice not only to be able to actually request more pillows, but also be able to actually request the type. So I love that. The second thing that I really like was the do not disturb, please make up my room sign. I don't know about you, but I've been in so many hotels and it's just that little bit of cardboard and it always falls off and you're like, are they gonna come? Are they gonna not? At the entrance of each room, as well as the entrance points of the hotel, you have these taps to basically wash the sand off your feet. And it's made a huge difference in just ensuring that our room is clean. And the last feature of the room that I really like here is that they've given us a ladder to help dry things. Now, usually it does live outside, but we don't have a whole lot of sunshine today. So we've brought it in just to help everything dry with the aircon. It would be nice if there were a few more hooks around the room, but at least we've got this one. So you can put, you know, your wet swimsuits, your towels and things like that. So something else that I really like about this hotel is that they're trying to cut down on plastic water bottle waste. So they give you these.
While we are budget-conscious travellers, staying at Eden was definitely a treat during our trip and well worth the extra money. The room as a whole and the bathroom had plenty of space and was always kept clean. Breakfast is included and is your typical buffet with both Western and Asian options. Like most hotel buffets, it can get crowded if you are there with other groups. The coffee wasn't amazing, but it was easily remedied further down the beach. You should definitely treat yourself to a coconut iced coffee from Mr. Nice.
What you doing?
It didn't take long for us to also discover the highlight for most visitors is actually the family of kittens, who have taken up residence on the balconies for their playtime and midday snoozles.
Something else I'll mention here is that everyone's so lovely, whether it's the staff in the hotel, we've had boat drivers, people in the restaurants. You know, of course, like everywhere else, there's a little bit of hustle for people to sell you the tours or things like that, or to come back to the restaurant, but it's by no means extreme. It's very friendly. So it's been a really, really nice trip and I've really loved it and I'd love to come back again.
We're Matt and Deb.
And we're currently here in Koh Rong Sanloem in Cambodia, and we're going to show you everything we got up to.
We're going to show you the different day trips we did from Saracen Bay, including visiting different beaches, villages, as well as a sunset boat trip. You can book tours at your accommodation or any of the restaurants in Saracen Bay. We found the main places that had the most options were at Mr. Nice, Sweet Time, and the Big Easy. Nearly all tour offerings are identical, with the main boat trip starting in the early afternoon, taking you snorkeling, fishing to Empire Bay, and swimming with the bioluminescent plankton at night for about $17 or $18. We really only wanted transportation to Empire Bay to look around for the day, and found the cheapest option was at Sweet Time, and chartered a boat for $70 that was split between 4 people. We had a short stop snorkeling on the way to Empire Bay.
The snorkeling was okay. There was lots of fish, there was lots of coral around, but yeah, the water was a bit cloudy, it wasn't clear, so it did make it difficult to see stuff. But I'm sure if you found the right spot, or you went out a bit further into deeper water, it would be really good snorkeling or diving. Up at Empire Bay, definitely has a more lively, vibrant culture. It's the cheaper part of the island, has a lot more hostels, a lot more young folk. As a result of that, it tends to be a bit more of a party vibe up there.
Empire Bay was definitely more lively, with the village going back a few blocks from the beach. Here you'll find more shops, restaurants, budget-friendly accommodation, and unfortunately, trash. One piece of information that we hadn't seen before. If you're looking at doing some island hopping, start at the main island of Koh Rong before heading to Empire Bay, and make Saracen Bay your final stop. It's really easy to travel in this direction using the ferries, but not so easy going the other way, as we soon found out with multiple places at Empire Bay advertising rides to Saracen Bay for only $5. We had asked around at multiple tour operators at Saracen Bay about getting to Empire Bay, and we definitely weren't offered this price or honestly even this option. We were just told to go on a tour for the day. Having said that, we were really happy with the tour. We organised it with one of the staff members at Sweet Time, and it was really easy to organise, first chatting with them at the restaurant and then via WhatsApp. The boat driver was a young local who did a great job communicating the necessary information, like where it was safe to snorkel and where to meet him at Empire Bay. As we were leaving Empire Bay, he noticed that we were taking videos and photos of the sunset and manoeuvred the boat around so that we could get the best viewpoint. Obviously, chartering a boat isn't in everyone's budget, especially if you're only 1 or 2 people. But if you are in a bigger group, consider it, because then you will have choice about what you're actually doing. And it also means that you're not waiting on other people to move on with activities. So for example, we only snorkeled for a very short amount of time, and we definitely spent longer at Empire Bay than the typical group tours. Our next day trip from Saracen Bay took us to both Lazy and Sunset Beach. There are tours that you can book to take you to these places on quad bikes or boats, but we decided to walk.
We are on our way to Lazy Beach first, and it's essentially across the island.
Our walk from the east side to the west side of the island.
Well, supposedly half an hour, we'll let you know.
And because we're going there for sunset and doing it in the middle of the afternoon, it's currently 3 p.m, quite sweaty. Although so far, the trail has not presented anything that we couldn't tackle in our all-purpose work boots, aka thongs or pluggers or flip-flops, jandals, whatever you call them.
It's very hot. Bring water. It is pretty straightforward, but we do have it loaded on an app.
Maps.me I'm using allows you to download offline maps, and then even if you have no service, your phone's GPS will still pin you on that offline map. As you can probably see on the roads behind us, they are quite wide and rocky, so they're quite easy to navigate. I know they take the quad bike tours along here as well. So yeah, they're not sealed pathways, but if you've done anything more than a leisurely stroll along concrete, you won't find this too challenging.
And there is a lot of construction happening at the moment, so I think the roads are probably improving consistently. Now we're on a nice little rainforest path, which is actually lovely because we're out of the sun.
We have lost the wind though.
Yes.
That wind did keep the temperature down a bit.
Look out for snakes, and apparently monkeys are a problem here too. So far we have not seen, nor have we seen evidence. That's not to say they don't exist, be cautious. But it's definitely not. It's more of a walk than a hike. Probably the biggest problem to Lazy Beach so far is just that it's been really, really hot. So just bring some extra water, sun cream, all that good stuff. And we're probably pretty close now just because we've come across some fruit trees that you can probably see here in the background. We know there's some accommodation and restaurants down here, so assuming this all belongs to them. The trail itself is really quiet. We're here in February, which is supposed to be peak time, and I'd say it's lively, but it's definitely not busy. But this trail itself, we've seen one other person and a family who had a couple of kids with them, so it's definitely doable.
So we are now here at Lazy Beach, and first impressions I would say is that it lives up to me. It is a lazy looking bit. The hardest bit of that whole walk was probably walking along the beach through the hot, soft sand. Would you agree, Deb?
Yeah, and I'd say the beach over at Saracen definitely looks a little bit more picturesque. This one isn't like that perfect white sand beach.
Yeah, more of a yellow sand. Dare say there's less rubbish here than at Saracen, probably because there's fewer people here and it doesn't get all the rubbish below here from mainland Cambodia.
And the water does look really nice. It's definitely more waves though.
Yeah, probably being a bit more open, a bit more exposed. It's not a surf beach, but yeah, the water is a bit more wavy, a bit rougher.
And it took us about 30 minutes or so to get here. We weren't walking particularly fast or slow. We were obviously filming, but we didn't really stop too much, so it's definitely an easy walk to do. It's just very hot right now.
Thank God for that breeze.
So we've pretty much just backtracked out to this main cleared
Look,
area.
a butterfly.
But we are back at the big tree, and there is a sign over here for Sunset Beach.
Up the hill.
Up the hill. It's not a big hill, but you can see all of this here has just been cleared. Let's go. On our way to Sunset Beach. Hopefully for the most epic sunset of all time, for the effort put in. Did we mention that it's hot? Sunset Beach, we're nearly there. Oh my. So the last bit up to sunset is a very big hill. Thank goodness it's in the shade. That was a really, really big hill.
So most of it's just been over rocky road, but as you can see here, the final bit down to Sunset Beach is like an actual hiking trail. They have also added a rope to the side if you need that for balance. But yeah, it's not too extreme. It's just a bit of uneven ground. So yeah, still doing it in my all-purpose work boots. No problem.
We stopped filming the final part of the walk because the trail was too difficult to walk down holding a camera. The climb in and out of Sunset Beach definitely isn't accessible, so if this is a concern for you, look into getting a boat around the island. Having said that, it was a really fun place to be with plenty of people around and more appearing as the sun went down. If we went back to the island, we would either visit these two beaches on separate days or go to Sunset Beach first and Lazy Beach for the sunset. This is because walking out of Sunset Beach after dark wasn't a great time. The mosquitoes were pretty horrific, and of course, it was pitch black. Having said that, we're really glad we made the effort to visit these beaches while we were staying at Saracen Bay.
Yeah, after exploring the island, there are plenty of roads that are now opening up the island. Lazy Beach and Sunset Beach are both a bit of a mission to get to. So just keep that in mind if you're wanting to stay there. You will have to do a bit of a hike or pay for a boat trip around to those other locations to get there if you don't want to hike up and down across an island. Overall, I've really enjoyed my stay here on Koh Rong. It is very exactly what you expect. Chill little island, quiet. Here at Saracen Bay, the sand is beautiful and white. I would say though that Lazy Beach and Sunset Beach on the other side of the island are equally as good. They don't have the pure white sand, but they're just as pretty. They are a bit cleaner as well, being on the opposite side of the island. But the beaches here at Saracen are definitely the nicest on the island. There has actually just been a new route open which goes direct from Koh Rong Sanloem to Kampot, which is our next destination. So we've been able to book onto that, and I'll give you a bit more information on that below. I'm getting a bit sweaty. I might have to activate my air conditioning. Pop my ears out. Summer mode activated.
It's very hot. Just that it's been really, really hot. It's just very hot right now. Did we mention that it's hot? This is our hot girl walk. Take 2.
Our next stop is the city of Kampot, where we have 48 hours to explore. Here's what we thought.
We left the new Kampot ferry terminal and had high hopes. The drive to our hotel took us by water buffalo, markets and waterfront restaurants. There was only one thing missing: the people.
We are in Kampot this morning and have gone out to kayak what they call the Green Cathedral.
Kingfisher and the hornbill.
Oh wow. So it's a river system just kind of north of Kampot. We had to get a tuk-tuk up here. It only took about 10 minutes, cost about $2, and our kayak was $8. It's quite nice. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of rubbish in the river, but it's actually not as bad as we thought it would be compared to some other places that we've been. There's also some wildlife around. We've definitely taken precautions just for mosquitoes here on the river because we've heard especially dengue is particularly bad here in Kampot. But we are enjoying a nice little paddle around.
The hideaway is about 10 minutes north of Kampot, with the Green Cathedral loop taking about 1 hour to kayak.
We left the dock at the hideaway and turned into the winding river. The way to go is fairly intuitive. but if you're unsure, just check Google Maps. We had data on our phones with eSIMs, and I'll leave those details below. This was a pretty tranquil way to spend an hour and felt a world away from the traffic in the city. We passed through towering greenery, sunken boats, locals collecting reeds, bridges old and new, guest houses, and more construction. While here, we only saw one other family kayaking and not a single person in the guest houses, despite it being peak season. We definitely recommend this activity while you're in Kampot. We weren't rushing and are quite confident in a kayak. It took us about an hour. If you're a beginner, it would also be very doable as the water's quite calm. There's also tours to take if you feel you need one. We then went back into the centre of Kampot to see its most famous landmark.
So Deborah, what do you think of the big durian?
Kind of big.
Kinda big? Meh, I've seen bigger.
It's a durian. It's an interesting tourist attraction here in Kampot.
We were in need of a coffee and we went to Epic Arts Cafe, a social enterprise with excellent food and a focus on reusable products as well as unique merchandise for sale. The cafe provides training and jobs for staff with disabilities. As part of their commitment to inclusivity, they also have sign language classes a few times a week. The cafe was busy, especially with tour groups. Our coffee, cake and BLT cost just over $9.
We were staying at the Old Cinema Hotel, a unique place to visit even if you're not staying there. As the name suggests, this is an old cinema. The Art Deco building has been renovated and turned into a gorgeous boutique hotel. If you don't want to spend the $70 plus a night for a room, you can come in and use the pool as long as you purchase a meal. The food was phenomenal. We ordered this cheese platter for $20 for dinner, and it was more than enough for the both of us. Our room, though small, was very comfortable, had everything we needed, and probably had the best shower pressure in all of Cambodia.
Breakfast at the hotel was excellent. Not your typical buffet, but a la carte. We usually don't bother with hotel breakfast and prefer to go out to local businesses instead. However, the provided breakfast was a real treat and worth the extra cost for the room. They had different plated options, all cooked to order, and include fresh coffee, fruits, and huge portions.
We spent our second day in Kampot at a local cooking class. We met our teacher Sophia at the local market before walking through to purchase some ingredients for our dishes. This market was the definition of bustling. It was the busiest place we'd seen so far in Kampot, and it was really nice to walk through with the local, pointing out the different foods, produce, candies, and also the processes that they actually did to get it ready to sell, including fresh coconut flour. We jumped in a tuk-tuk to her home, not too far away from where we'd gone kayaking the day before. and were shown how to make 3 dishes plus dessert before having a go ourselves. Her chicken amok and lok lak recipes were absolutely delicious. For only $22 each, this was a huge amount of food, and we left feeling very full and with a bunch of new recipes to try at home. I booked this very last minute over WhatsApp, and I'll leave the details in the description below.
Our time in Kampot was interesting. We had fun at the cooking class and really enjoyed kayaking, but I'm not sure we'd come back to Kampot if we were in Cambodia again. Although it wasn't that busy, Kampot didn't have the vibe we were looking for. Most people will do day tours to the pepper farms or national park, but otherwise you probably only need a day here to explore the town if you're not booking an all-day activity like the cooking class.
I'm videoing, so you're going to have to paddle.
Today we're visiting an unexpected highlight of our trip, the Phnom Chisor temple complex in Cambodia. When we were researching, there was very little information about how to visit, so here's everything we found out.
We were travelling between Kampot and Phnom Penh and decided to use a private driver so we could also visit Phnom Chisor. If you're looking for a great driver in Cambodia, I'll leave the details for Donna in the description below. We highly recommend him. It took about 2 hours from Kampot to the temple, where we were met with the 400 stairs to the top. This is where you'll pay your $2 entrance fee.
Honestly, I was not expecting these stairs. There's a lot of them.
Important to both Buddhists and Hindus. You'll find Hindu priests in the temples who will give you a blessing as well as a red bracelet for good luck and protection for a donation of about 5,000 Riyal. I don't know if it was a male-female thing or the priest just thought that I needed extra blessings, but the monks definitely spent more time with me than Deb.
We continued along the winding paths, finding overgrown trees, hidden shrines and temples, and prayer flags, before stumbling into the older part of the complex. And this amazing vista in front of us.
Sitting on top of the mountain, the 900-year-old complex is built of red brick and sandstone. It was strategically important during the Vietnam-American War, and the area was bombed by the US, devastating the buildings. It has now been rebuilt, and you can enter the ancient temples for yourself.
The biggest surprise was inside the temples. Adorned with disco lights, the juxtaposition between old and new was startling. What we love so much about this place is that it's still a working temple, with families and pilgrims making their way up the stairs to pray and be blessed. We also felt very welcome walking around and were invited multiple times to take part in the blessings. The monks or priests also just wanted to have a chat and find out about our trip and what we thought about Cambodia.
Now midday, we were grateful we were walking down and not up the 400 stairs, and began the hour-and-a-half drive back to Phnom Penh.
If you're someone who's after an authentic travel experience, Cambodia is the place for you.
You'll find amazing scenery, food, culture, literal wonders of the world, as well as some of the friendliest people. We had an amazing time here, and we're already planning our next trip.
If you found this video helpful at all, we'd really appreciate if you could give us a like or subscribe, as it really helps our small channel. Thanks for watching.